Hello, this is my 1979 vintage, I don't know what you call it, coffee table style, or I think it was actually cocktail style cabinet, video game machine. It's originally, the casing is a 1979 Space Invaders Part 2, which was says it on there, its colour, I believe, somewhere, one of the things, but it was a cheap colour in the fact that it was a monochrome screen. I'm a bit of a beat there, the camera frequency, with plastic coloured strips across it, so the aliens or whatever changed colour as they moved down the screen. So it was colours to look at, but not actually a colour system in the electronic sense. So I retrofitted it with a Galaxians board, which is one of the most versatile of the old video game boards, and there are many different ROMs that could be fitted to it, and there's still also support from about. I mean, this is untouched since I did it. The Galaxian board is 1980 vintage, and I probably did it about 1981 or something like that, and I've had it ever since. It doesn't get turned on much. Of course, I've just got a computer or something stood on it, but I do turn it on occasion just to make sure everything keeps working. It's actually got ROMs in it for Mooncresta, which you may or may not know. You can find the start button. That's for the 3-section ship that starts out with a small section, a single gun. And then as that's destroyed, if you don't destroy all the aliens as they come down, you get to second and third stage. Now, I say I'm showing this for as much technical interest as gaming interest, though at one time I could keep going through that forever, basically. Just keep going around and around. But not having played it much now, I just tried it, and I keep losing the first stage. And if you lose the first stage, it gets, well, the second stage is actually easier, but of course it goes back and restarts at the second stage again, and you can't keep going around it at that, really. So now that's the board. That's a Galaxians board. In fact, I'll just pause and put some light on. It's somewhat of a shoehorn fit in there. That's the end of that stage. I did put connects on everything. Right, I've just unplugged it so you can hear me over the noises. Anyway, that's a full-size Galaxians board, which is shoehorned in more or less. It just barely fits inside the cabinet, but it does fit. It's all TTL, and for the general logic, 74 series. That's the CPU, which I believe is a Z80, if I remember right. That's a modified EPROM carrier, which has got the address pins rearranged and linked out to different ICs to allow for a larger EPROM in a single socket, because the Galaxians is rather bigger than the Mooncresta is rather bigger than the Galaxians original. There are lots of option ROMs and extra plug-in boards you can get for these. I might do a proper mod on it sometime. They're the character generator or graphics ROMs. You see there's various logic mods around there for extra addressing and things. Those, the ones with the heatsinks on and the ones either side of those are small TTL RAMs. I believe they're 256 bits, if I remember right. So it's got 256 bytes of fast memory there, which I believe are the sprite generators. And they're one of the commonest failure points on these. There's a couple have got heat sinks on. I think they're probably ones that were a bit more temperature sensitive than the others. I mean, it is slightly temperamental in fact that the socket is ICs. When it's not been used for a long time, things tarnish and then start moving about with temperature. I first turned this on just now, it got a couple of lines on the screen, and just tapped the board and they cleared up again. But it's still all original, other than the mods which were common at the time to accommodate different games. Still got the coin mech in, but it's set for free play. I think that's the coin acceptor, which is the old style. Well, I don't know what money it takes even. It might, 1980s, it probably would be probably 10p's. Oh, the previous 10p's, the larger ones, something like that. That's the coin counter that can be multiplier or divider to define how many coins it takes, or how much a game costs. Power supply, which you can see has been slightly muddy for the new board. And its loudspeaker. The monitor is a total replacement, of course. It's a colour monitor, a CRT type. It's quite big. And when I was messing about with these, I also had an upright cabinet before I moved away from my parents' place where I've got plenty of room. So I used to have quite a selection of boards, so I used to be able to swap them around. You can see I had a kind of my own personal standardised wiring, so I could plug different boards into different machines or to mess about with them. But so this has not been touched now in 40 years modification wise. I do still have the original Space Invaders Part 2 boards. I don't think I kept the monitor, but I can't be sure. I've got a spare monitor somewhere stored in the loft, but again that's not been touched in many years. Galaxians boards are also made in a compact version, which basically was split down the middle and some ribbon cables connect the two halves, so it could be folded to fit in less space. But so this is the one I've got, and it's at full size. It is a double-sided console, of course. It has got the same set of controls, playing controls at least, around the other side. Can't actually get to them because it's backed up to the side of as a T. And this side's out, it's got the same controls, but with the single player or two player buttons as well. So that's the original Space Invader control panel again, with the Japanese text. So it's a nice old machine. Again, it's got a bit of electronics and technological history. I'll see if I can put my hands on the original boards. I'll just show you those. But, I'll just end this for the minute and carry on if I can.